Rock Mountain.
좀 더 왼쪽으로. 넘어갔어. 아주 조금이면 돼. 그래, 바로 거기야. 고개를 조금 더 숙여.
Following Luke's instructions, you strike a pose in front of the camera. A refreshing breeze blows from the woods as he clicks the shutter. The limpid spring water tickles under the morning light, harmonizing with the bird's song in a vibrant melody. Are you done yet?
잠깐, 한번 확인해 볼게.
Luke holds his phone in one hand and the camera in the other, his eyes wandering back and forth between the two screens. What is Luke checking?
이건 됐다. 일단 기다려.
Possibly concerned that you're standing too high or that the ground isn't flat enough, Luke rushes over as you crouch down. He places the phone and camera on a dry pile of stones and walks over to the rock you're standing on, extending both arms high towards you.
조심해.
You grab Luke's arm to support yourself as you jump off the rock, falling onto his firm shoulders from the inertia and regain balance with his gentle support. Show me that last one. I think there was some wind blowing when you took it. Did my hair cover my face? You tap eagerly on Luke's arm, excited to see the photo. Luke turns to pick up the camera and hand it to you. Seeing that you're holding it steadily, he bends down again to pick up his phone.
다 확인했으니까 걱정 마. 아무 문제 없어.
As you're holding the camera in your hands and checking the photo, Luke looks around again with his phone held up.
저쪽 봐봐. 저기도 우리가 어릴 때 사진 찍었던 곳 같은데?
Looking in the direction Luke's pointing to, you'll see a place that resembles somewhere you saw in the photo album a couple of days ago. Though you two look at the album together, and it was only a couple of days ago, how do you remember it so clearly?
그거야. 한 번 보면 잊지 않는 게 탐정의 필수 스킬이니까.
I feel like there's more to it. Noticing the disbelief written all over your face, Luke feels compelled to show you the truth, waving his phone.
사실 그날 영주 이모 허락받고 앨범 속 사진들을 더 찍어놨어.
What? You took pictures of the album? Several days ago, you came to the riverbank city to deliver files to a client, officially concluding the case. As Luke happened to be available those days, you two decided to stay in Riverbank City for a few nights and have a tour around. After wrapping up the case, you two first visited Auntie Cheryl and her husband Charles, whom you hadn't seen for years. Both of them are famous water quality experts and friends of your parents. You haven't seen each other since they moved to Riverbank City. Cheryl's residence.
아이고, 미안해. 성준 삼촌이 오늘 갑자기 현장 답사에 불려갔지 뭐야. 너희를 참 보고 싶어 했는데.
It's alright, Auntie Cheryl. I'm sure it's important work.
맞아요. 과학 연구 분야에선 돌발 상황을 피할 수 없죠. 그러고 보니 얼마 전에 네이처 저널에서 이모랑 삼촌이 요즘 바위골 계곡 수질을 분석 중이시라는 내용을 봤어요.
혁이 넌 여전히 과학 연구 쪽에 관심이 많구나.
Luke scratches his head embarrassed as Auntie Cheryl speaks to him in a friendly tone, as if speaking to a child.
그렇단다. 바위골 산기슭 땅은 농사짓기에 적합하지가 않고 산속 계곡은 또 넓고 얕게 퍼져 있어서 어업 상황도 좋지 않거든. 그래서 계속 발전이 잘 안 되고 있어서 거기 수질이 인공 양식을 시도할 만한지를 보려는 거야.
계곡이 광범위하게 분포되어 있다면 수중에 산소와 칼슘 함유량이 충분한 편일 테고 갑각류 수생생물한테 적합할 것 같은데요?
맞아. 우리도 새우와 꽃게 양식에 적합하다는 것을 알아냈어. 그래서 요즘 새우랑 꽃게 양식을 대규모로 진행할 수 있도록 바위골 주변 마을 지원에 대한 제안서를 정부에 제출하려고 준비 중이야.
Did Uncle Charles go to Creek Hill for the survey today?
갑작스러운 문제가 생겨서 처리하러 갔어. 맞다. 너희도 예전에 우리랑 같이 바위골에 간 적 있는데.
Oh? While admitting to Auntie Cheryl that you had no recollection of the trip, you involuntarily glanced at Luke, who was also looking at you in confusion.
오래전 일이기도 하고 너희가 어렸을 때라 아마 기억나진 않을 거야. 그때가 첫 바위골 답사였는데 네 엄마도 마침 일이 있어서 이곳에 왔었거든. 바위골 풍경이 아름답다는 이야기를 듣고 너희도 마침 방학이라 함께 데리고 갔었어.
Auntie Cheryl suddenly claps her hands while reminiscing about the mountain scenery as if she recalls something.
생각났다. 그때 사진도 많이 찍어놨었는데 잠깐만.
She goes to the study and spends a while there searching before returning with a thick photo album.
이거 봐. 여기 이 페이지부터 다 바위골에 갔을 때 찍은 사진이야.
As you take the album, you see snapshots capturing two children laughing wholeheartedly. There were you and Luke back then. You can't help but marvel at your young faces. No wonder I don't remember any of it. We were so small. Most of the photos are of you and Luke. Occasionally, Auntie Cheryl, Uncle Charles, and your parents also appear in the pictures. There is a photo of your father walking across a rock beach of rocks, holding you in one arm, while Luke was sitting on his other shoulder. There's a photo of your mother holding your hand while turning around to call Luke, who was captivated by a strange stone on the road. Yet another photo features the two of you playing in a shallow creek, splashing water on each other. Looking at Luke, whose behavior is still somewhat childish from time to time, you can't help but tap on his bandaged arm in the photo. Someone here seems to have the same problem in all photos, regardless of age.
내가 어릴 땐 좀 활동적이었지.
맞아. 그때 우리가 조금만 방심하면 혁이는 나무 위에 올라가 있었어.
이모까지 촐.
Blushing from her remarks, Luke turns to you for help despite you teasing him first. Well, he didn't outgrow it. He's so curious about everything even now that you'll lose him as long as he sees something interesting.
내가 언제 그랬어? 이모, 말 듣지 마세요. 저 지금은 안 그래요.
호기심이 있다는 건 좋은 일이야. 어릴 때 그런 탐구 정신이 없었다면 지금처럼 만물 박사가 되지 못했을 거고.
That's right.
됐어요. 다 저만 보지 마시고요. 여기 네 사진도 많이 있잖아. 얼마나 귀여운지 봐봐.
Following Luke's finger, you see a photo with the strangest composition. He must have taken it while the two of you were playing. This is all blurry. You skip all of the odd photos with strange angles and blurry faces and stop at several rare pictures in which the two of you were cooperative enough to strike a pose. It appears we had a thing for touristy photos when we were little. Luke must have noticed that as well because he nods in agreement.
그렇네. 인물은 지워버리고 풍경만 보고 싶은 사진도 있을 정도야.
Speaking of which, the scenery in Creek Hill looks truly amazing.
맞아. 산에 아름다운 경치가 많은데 아쉽게도 그때는 처음 간 거라 가보지 못한 곳이 많았거든. 이후에 나랑 성준 삼촌이 그곳의 특별한 경치를 많이 보러 다녔지.
There are even prettier places to see there.
그럼 있지. 석양이 아름다운 곳이 있는데 경치가 아주 특별해.
특별한 석양이요?
특이한 지형 때문에 해가 지면 석양을 본다기보다 그 한가운데로 걸어가는 느낌이 들거든. 아쉽게도 그때는 관측하느라 바빠서 너희한테 보여주지 못했어.
In the middle of the sunset. Sounds romantic. If I could hold hands with Luke and enjoy the sunset there.
우리 다시 한번 가볼까?
Luke suddenly speaks up as if reading your mind. Go again?
마침 우리 수완시에서 며칠 놀다가 가려고 했었잖아. 아예 바위골로 가보자. 이모께서 말씀하신 풍경들을 볼 수 있을지도 모르잖아.
You're tempted by Luke's suggestion. That sounds nice. Even with the photos, it's hard for me to remember anything that happened. You pick up the album on the table and point at one of the photos where the two of you were trying hard to climb up a rock. I'm fairly curious about what we were trying to do in these pictures.
가자. 거기에 가면 그때 재밌었던 일들을 떠올릴 수 있을지도 몰라. 물론 우리만의 새로운 추억들을 다시 만드는 것도 좋고 말이야.
Hearing your plan, Auntie Cheryl picks up her phone to look over some documents.
조만간 갈 계획이니? 그럼 부탁 하나 해도 될까?
You and Luke exchange a glance. He nods at you, apparently sharing your thought. Tell us what we can do for you, Auntie Cheryl.
우리가 요즘 수질 분석 보고서를 준비 중인데 바위골 계곡의 새우와 꽃게 활성도를 증거 자료로 생각 중이야. 근데 데이터 분석 시간이 좀 촉박하거든. 괜찮다면 산속 계곡의 새우와 꽃게 사진 좀 찍어와 줄 수 있을까? 보통 새우랑 꽃게는 숨어 있는데 물풀로 유인하면 나올 거야.
We could definitely do that, but since we're not professional researchers, will our photos meet your standards?
걱정 마. 전문적일 필요 없어. 혁이가 생물 올림피아드에 참가했을 때 배운 지식으로도 충분히 할 수 있단다. 참고 자료 보내줄 테니까 그대로 하면 문제 없을 거야.
걱정하지 마시고 맡겨주세요.
Rock Mountain. After a simple training session from Auntie Cheryl, you begin your half fun, half wildlife recording adventure. What? You took pictures of the album that day? How come I didn't notice anything? Did he do it when I was talking with Auntie Cheryl? Does Luke have a special plan or something? What did you take photos of the album for? Do you have a plan in mind?
카메라 챙겨오길 잘했다. 수중 생물들 말고 우리 사진도 찍을 수 있잖아. 추억 여행이니까 옛날 사진들을 리메이크 해보는 것도 좋을 것 같아서.
You mean take a new photo in all the old places we took pictures at? Sounds interesting. But we still have the task to complete. Do we have enough time?
그건 걱정할 필요 없어. 어차피 다른 일정은 없으니까 매일 바위골에 오면 되지. 그리고 영주 이모도 말씀하셨잖아. 물풀을 주고 새우랑 꽃게가 나올 때까지는 시간이 어느 정도 필요하다고 말이야. 기다리는 시간을 이용해서 우리가 할 일을 하면 딱이지.
If that's the case, we have just enough time. Great, then let's head to the old places first. I'll have you take some photos and then we can go find the pool Auntie Cheryl mentioned. Your joyous laughter blends in with the tickling of the spring water, waking up the forest as the mist fades away. One crab, one shell, two pincers, 8 legs. Two crabs, two shell, four pincers, 16 legs. Three, haha, we gotta stop. It's becoming a multiplication table. Well, that's a catchy adaptation you've come up with. I got inspired seeing the crabs crawl out. I have to say, the crabs and shrimps are also active. Exactly. All we need to do is place the aquatic plant in, and a bunch of them will come crawling out just like that. And look at how they're circling around the plant. They're so lively. I guess Auntie Cheryl will be relieved. Should we take a few more pictures before they go back into hiding? Sure. Hey, look, there are a few more hiding over there. Where? I'm coming. Look over here. Are they fighting? Let me see. You don't say. They look pretty nasty. Keep a little distance or you might get hurt by accident. Is it really okay to just leave them like this? I mean, one's so much bigger than the other. This is a natural battle. I don't think it's necessarily good for us humans to get involved. Let's just wait and see what's happened. I hope it doesn't turn out too bad. But look. That small one is quite the fighter. Yeah, really. And it's also more agile than its opponent. Looks like it's winning. Maybe it's the chivalrous knight of a crab princess determined not to lose. Are you saying that with its determination to protect the princess, it won't back down from any enemy no matter how strong? Yeah, that's the sort of courage it got the moment it is determined to become a knight. I hope it can survive the battle unharmed and manage to keep the princess safe. 16, 17, 18. We've taken lots of photos that meet the requirements. Looks like we have plenty of time left. Yep, we should be able to finish in advance. Maybe we could use the rest of the time to venture a bit deeper. Yeah, we could go down that other path we didn't take before. Maybe we'll discover some unexpected scenery. I like that. And there's also the place that Auntie Cheryl mentioned, the one that's great for watching sunset. Yeah, I looked up the best time to watch the sunset. We could finish the rest of the photos first and then slowly make our way there. We should be just in time. That's great. Let's put in some more aquatic plants. And snap a few more photos. Sure. Rock Mountain. One crab, one shell.
집게 둘, 다리 여덟.
Humming the crab song you made up in the last few days, you to reference the old photos to figure out where to go. After a few days of work and play, you managed to take photos of all the aquatic creatures Auntie Cheryl requested within the planned time. And according to the weather forecast, today is the best day to enjoy the sunset.
저기 봐. 저쪽이 이모가 말씀하셨던 위치인 것 같지?
It matches the map descriptions and photos. This must be it.
산속에서 석양을 본다길래 당연히 높은 곳일 거라고 생각했는데 골짜기 아래일 줄은 상상도 못했어.
Hearing what Luke said, you begin to study the surrounding environment as well. Relative to the cliff or summit that you imagine, this is just an ordinary rocky beach in the valley. The crisp melody of whispering water echoes around, while the evening breeze plays with your hair like a mischievous fairy. Maybe this is why Auntie Cheryl said that the sunset here is so different from a lot of tourist spots.
얘기할수록 더 기대가 되네.
But it looks like we're here a bit early. We'll have to wait a while before sunset.
그러게. 아직 이르니까 우선 좀 앉아서 쉴까? 이렇게 여기 앉아서 바람도 쐬고 흐르는 시냇물 소리를 듣고 있으니까 편안해지는 것 같아.
As the setting sun in the west dims its radiance, the soft light pours over the tips of Luke's hair, adding a touch of poetry to the picture. You've done this a lot in the past few days, sitting quietly in a beautiful spot in the mountains, nestled against each other. But each time you look into Luke's eyes and feel the warmth of his hands, you feel that each moment with him is meaningful, even if you're doing nothing at all. The scenery here is just breathtaking, and the sunset hasn't even begun.
참, 마침 시간이 조금 남았으니 이번에 찍은 사진들 좀 구경할까?
Okay, I've been so caught up in taking photos that I haven't even really looked at them. Luke finds somewhere flat to spread out the waterproof mat and pulls you down next to him to face the sunset. He hands you the camera and pulls out the photos he took at Auntie Cheryl's place on his phone. On the camera, you find lots of photos with the same background and gestures as the one you've had taken in your childhood. They were taken from the same angle as well. There are also many pictures of scenery you didn't see as a child.
이거 봐. 너 표정이 어릴 때랑 정말 똑같아.
No way, that one is silly.
바보 같다고? 어디가 바보 같아. 귀엽기만 한데.
As Luke is about to zoom in, you lean in hastily, swiping to the next photo. In this photo, little Luke stumbled and fell next to a shallow stream. Despite getting soaked, he was still laughing happily. Now that's a cute picture.
내 흑역사만 보지 말고 이것도 좀 봐. 같이 나온 이 사진들도 엄청 재밌다.
As the sun travels west, you walk to an open area and sit down, going through the photos you've taken one by one and discussing the interesting parts of your second visit to Creek Hill. Before you know it, a warm orange glow starts to spill softly over the serene valley. As you're enveloped by a golden brilliance coming from all corners of the forest, you finally realize what's so unique about the sunset in Creek Hill. It's like what Auntie Cheryl said. The shallow streams in Creek Hill are spread out, which means there are small creeks hidden in every corner. The orange-red light of the sunset is reflected by the creek on both sides of the forest, glimmering in every unexpected corner. Though the two of you are in the middle of the forest, the sunlight is scattered like stars dotting the sky, pouring quietly down your shoulders. No wonder Auntie Cheryl said the sunset here is special. It's really like walking in the middle of sunset.
그러게. 정말 전율이 느껴져. 아름다운 명소의 풍경과는 또 다른 전율이야.
Dazed by the wondrous view, you involuntarily reach out for Luke's hand, your fingers interlocking. If only we had seen this the time we came here with Mom and Dad. Luke comes closer to you, so you take the opportunity to lean gently on his shoulder.
어쩌면 지금에서야 이런 풍경을 함께 본 게 다행인 걸지도 몰라.
Really?
생각해봐. 그때는 우리가 어려서 일몰을 봤더라도 기억에 남지 않았을 거야. 한쪽에서 장난만 치고 있었겠지. 그리고 어렸을 때니까 대형 폭포의 웅장함 같은 걸 더 좋아했겠지? 이렇게 곳곳에 숨겨진 섬세한 아름다움은 지금의 우리만이 느낄 수 있는 걸지도 몰라.
Luke. Leaning against his shoulder, you raise your head, the setting sun shining both behind him and in his eyes. He looks so brilliant from all angles, so alluring. You can't help but get closer to him, even closer. He always manages to tug at your heartstrings in unexpected moments. Bathing in an ocean of light, he squints contently, his handsome face gradually getting closer without you realizing.
왜 갑자기?
The sunset pins his face in red hue. As you see him widen his eyes, you suddenly become aware that you're kissing his cheek. The man standing in front of you is capable of staying calm in most circumstances, but in this moment, He appears to be blushing under the sunset. They say that the sunset can be intoxicating. It truly is. Both you and Luke are fully lost in each other in the intoxicating sunset. I just find the view wonderful.
그러게.
Luke replies in a low voice and turns his head to kiss you on your forehead with the same tenderness, your fingers more firmly interlock. The clouds turn orange-pink in the sunset, the radiance of it ever softer. Even the shattered light all over the forest dies down to a mellow shimmer. It is like love cultivated over years and decades, becoming second nature to those involved, seeping into every detail of their lives. It says in a whisper that no matter when and where, as long as the two of you are in each other's embrace, you can always find the most exquisite companionship and strength in the gaze and warmth of your loved one. Bedroom. You went back to your jobs after returning to Sally's from Creek Hill. Your outing and the sunset on that day only come up on occasion in your conversations. 1 month later, upon coming home from work, you find the carpet covered with photos and Luke sitting among them with his legs crossed. What are these? You take off your coat and put it on the rack before approaching Luke.
왔어?
Instead of standing, he looks up and grabs your hand, guiding you to sit down on an intentionally empty spot next to him.
영주 이모가 보내주신 건데 우리 어릴 적 사진들을 다시 인화한 거야. 오늘 이모가 전화로 우리가 찍은 새우랑 꽃게 사진이 연구 보고서에 큰 도움이 됐다고 말씀해 주셨어. 수완시 정부가 양식 프로젝트를 받아들여서 준비에 들어갔대.
That sounds great!
그러게, 이모도 기뻐하시는 것 같았어. 자, 이 사진들은 우리에게 준 선물이야. 마침 며칠 전에 내가 그때 찍은 사진들을 인화했거든.
Luke gives the sealed paper bag next to his hand a shake as he speaks.
두 사진들을 나란히 맞춰서 앨범에 넣어볼까? 아니면 앨범을 두 권으로 나눠서 한 권은 어렸을 때, 다른 한 권은 현재 사진을 넣어도 좋고. 네 생각은 어때?
It would be nice to put them together. I thought it was fun to look at the photos and compare them when I was going through the camera that day.
맞아. 내 생각도 그래. 마침 오늘 저녁에 우리 둘 다 시간이 있으니 바로 시작할까?
Yeah, let's get started. Light from the setting sun pours in through the window, illuminating every smile in the photos. You sit on the ground, bathing in the mellow light, laughing and fighting playfully with each other. It's just like the sunset that day. You spread your love to each corner of your existence, carrying a sincere care for each other in your hearts. Each unexpected moment of affection reminds you of the initial spark of love that ignited years ago.